You are looking at the machine
Starlink.
that is being built to watch the world.
And a big part of it is owned and controlled by Elon Musk.
Yeah!
These are satellites, and almost 7 years ago, none of them existed. Now they surround the Earth, listening, communicating, watching, shaping life down below. And that is only the beginning.
The Department of Defense and the intelligence community envisioned a world of 24/7 coverage in all weather to be able to watch targets without blinking. This notion of constant stare.
You know, when I started this story, I thought I was just going to be looking at a load of computers because I thought I was investigating AI. But you see, AI is just one small part of what is going on here. To see the rest, you have to look up.
But let me tell you about the data before we go back to the clean room. This chart shows the enormous change that has taken place in the last few years.
This is the number of satellites launched into space each year since the start of the space race in the late 1950s.
For most of that period, launches were so expensive and satellites were so large that they were only launched rarely and one at a time. Then in 2017, something changed. Or rather, someone. This guy, this company,
Falcon 9.
and these reusable rockets. Once SpaceX made rockets reusable, it became much cheaper to put satellites into low Earth orbit. And that changed what satellites could do. Before, the best you could get was occasional snapshots. Now, you can start to build something closer to live video of Earth.
So we're on our way.
David Zikusoka worked on space intelligence at the Pentagon.
The DoD has ambitions to launch about 1,000 satellites between now-ish and the year 2035. The National Reconnaissance Office is planning to quadruple the size of its fleet of satellites and in general plans to ingest about 10 times more information than before.
Do you know the National Reconnaissance Office? No? Well, they might know about you. They're the US government agency which handles space intelligence, kind of like the CIA or the NSA, but for space.
We see from the perspective of stars.
And they're launching spy satellites at an unprecedented rate.
Well, you know, over the last, not quite 2 years, we put 200 satellites on orbit.
They also have multi-billion-dollar, 10-year contracts with private companies like Planet Labs, whose satellite constellation can image Earth's entire land surface daily at 3 meters per pixel, and arrangements with companies that make radar satellites that can see through cloud and at night, and other satellites for different kinds of surveillance, intercepting phone calls, internet activity, radio, tracking movement from GPS. It's continuous planetary monitoring, or as the NRO puts it, see it, hear it, sense it. To get a sense of just how much Elon Musk dominates space, take a look at the chart I showed you earlier, broken down by who fires these objects into space. These are the world's countries, and this is SpaceX. Almost everything that goes into space goes because Elon Musk sent it. It doesn't matter who you are. If you want to get there, you've got to go through him.
The US military, the US national security apparatus is highly dependent on Musk and his rockets. It's a significant impact on world affairs.
As well as sending up other people's satellites, SpaceX also send up their own.
All these satellites are from Starlink, the biggest satellite constellation in space.
More than half of all satellites in space belong to Elon Musk. At any time, if you look up, he's right up there. Not looking down, because these satellites don't watch. They provide connectivity, internet. They are the nerves of this planetary machine, getting data to and from previously inaccessible places, passengers on planes, remote Amazonian tribes, and above all, battlefields. If you want to see how important these satellites are in war, just ask the Ukrainians and the Russians. When Musk cut off Starlink communications to the Russians earlier this year, multiple reports say that drone ops failed. Communications went down. They still had the equipment, and they knew what they wanted to do, but the connection between the two of them had been broken. The nerves had been pinched shut. That kind of thing shouldn't happen to the US. They have Starshield, a special line of military satellites built on SpaceX technology. And they're working on their own distributed space internet. It's called the Proliferated Warfighter Space Architecture. But for the rest of the world, Musk's power it's immense. All the data from space would be overwhelming if you didn't have a way to go through it. But now, the US military does. AI. This is the brain of the planetary machine. And the core of that brain
is Maven Smart System, Palantir's software as a service product that we are deploying across the entire department.
This is the Department of War's Chief Digital and Artificial Intelligence Officer, who earlier this year gave a talk which actually revealed what this famous system looks like. It's hardly been discussed, but to me this is revelatory. You can see satellite imagery is combined with other imagery, because this is from a plane, you see. That's the plane. And other data is added on top and combined into a single visualization tool, which you can inspect and then, most importantly, action. Look at this. They're dialing up and down the things they want AI to prioritize to work out how to target something. Then Maven automatically recommends this nearby striker vehicle armed with a .50 caliber machine gun, showing exactly how long it will take to engage. See that? Time to target, 4 minutes, 23 seconds. And then in the same system, you can tell that vehicle to go. One-click strike approval.
This is revolutionary. When we started this, it literally took hours to do what you just saw there. And through a number of different deployments, we've been able to reduce that time significantly.
The UK has a contract with Palantir too, and it's working on its own version of Maven Smart System called
a digital kill web or digital targeting web. And essentially what it does is it collects together every single form of sensor, whether that's a satellite, an aircraft, a ship, open source data, a mobile phone. It doesn't matter, but it networks all the things that you can use to see the world, and the world is now effectively transparent.
But, it's been held up with funding delays.
For all sorts of reasons, the money is often tied up in other things.
And in the meantime, the US is already taking the next leap forward by adding generative AI on top of what Palantir do. The way to think about it is that Palantir is kind of like memory and reasoning in this brain, and Claude or ChatGPT add language and perception. And with this stuff, people always get hung up on autonomous killer robots. And I do think they're coming. But that's not really the point here. What they're trying to do is speed up the entire system, to speed up what they call the kill chain, which is the chain that goes from seeing something to acting on it. The chain that goes from eyes to brain to nerve to muscle. That used to be hours, and now it's minutes. And they've only just begun.
This story starts in America because that is where the machine that watches the world is being built the fastest. But it doesn't end there. Everywhere, around the world, other countries are having to respond. Russia, China, and right here in the UK. This is where they build the satellites, right back there, that are the UK version of what is going on in America. So if you want to understand why this company's been going, I think 40 years, and has launched 79 satellites, this is why. Because these things are, they're basically handcrafted. And doesn't that make you think just how incredible it is what the Americans are doing? They're turning a bespoke art into almost something mass-produced.
Now we get to see them up close. There's a strict dress code. Coat, hat, beard net.
The reason it's got to be clean is because you really do not want to get dust on the lens of this camera.
This is a communication satellite being prepared to send to the moon. On a SpaceX rocket, of course.
These machines are incredible, but what you've got to understand is that when the UK government gets them to build their satellites here, they're not just trying to build objects. They're trying to build independence, or at least more independence. Britain is trying to make sure that when it comes down to a crisis, it's not just a customer of the machine that watches the world. It owns a part of it.
It's slow going, to say the least.
SpaceX is really the only game in town. And there is something to be said that kind of SpaceX control access to space at the moment. And it's not quite that bad, but it's not far off that being the case. What happens if they decide that they don't want to do it anymore? Then everybody is stuck. Actually, it did happen. It was some months ago now in the scheme of Ukraine, for a fairly short period of time, but nevertheless it happened. The US decided they weren't going to share any satellite imagery.
What do you feel like you need from the UK government, your partners in government, to give the UK a sovereign capability here?
I think if the UK really wanted to be, kind of safer in these areas, it needs to find a way to have more kind of national programs that will deliver UK national spacecraft into orbit, potentially on a UK national rocket as well.
You know, in a funny way, this place could actually be considered the birthplace of SpaceX, because in 2002, after Elon Musk sold PayPal, he came here to learn about space. He bought a 10% share of the company, sat on the board, and this was where he taught himself about space, how to do space. Now, it's not just in space, he controls access to space. It kind of makes you think, what can be done if you really have the will, the money, the desire to do it? I wonder if the UK does.